You guys are all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Gable. With that being said, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. And before we recite the Pledge of Allegiance,
You guys are all set.
thank you. I have an announcement to make. Due to the increasing concern surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting/public hearing will be held remotely with no physical meeting location. Those seeking to provide public input should do so using the methods listed below. Video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV 9 at a later date. A live recording of the meeting will be available on the Town of Dayton YouTube channel, which can be accessed using this link: www.youtube.com/Town of Dayton. Public input phone line during the meeting will be 508-669-6431, extension 114. Please leave a voicemail if necessary. The public input email before or during the meeting is keasterday@dayton-mass.gov. Use the email subject line, public meeting, September 16, 2020, public input, and include your name and address for the record. With that being said, I'm going to move on to item number 2, which everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Members of the board, I'm going to move on to item number 3. I will entertain a motion to confirm the next meeting date of October 7th, 2020.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made by Mr. Cavallo. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Woods. Gentlemen, by roll call. Mr. Figueredo. I know he's on, his phone's off. Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. That motion carries. Next meeting date again is October 7th of 2020. We will be, gentlemen, we will be back to work on our regular annual schedule, so they'll be meeting twice a month. So that's just a heads up for that. Move on to item number 4 on the business. Review, discuss, and act on a Form A application from KJ Arujo Ltd., 1996 William Street, map 17, lots 115, 126, 127, and 128. And who's representing the Arujos this evening?
That would be me, Paul Matos, with Allen and Major Associates.
Mr. Matos, you have the floor, sir.
What we have before you today is a simple A&R plan. We're prepared. We're creating parcels A and parcel B as shown on the plans. The purpose of the plan is that we're putting the property into an agricultural preservation restriction. So parcel A would be the farm fields that are out there today, which is about 20.45 acres with 201.78 feet of frontage on Elm Street. And then parcel B is where the existing house is today. And that's 35,051 square feet with 175.26 feet of frontage. That portion of map 17, lot 115 was actually shown as lot 1 on a plan that was recorded in Plan Book 514, page 28. And that was done in May 11, 2017, endorsed by the Planning Board on July 26, 2017.
So, Mr. Matos, I believe this is just a wrap-up of the agricultural preservation restriction that was done by the Community Preservation Committee. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. I will open the floor to the members if you gentlemen have any questions of Mr. Matos.
Nothing from Jeff Cavallo.
Mr. Woods, any questions?
None.
Yeah, Mr. Meadows, I had the distinct honor and pleasure of being the chairman of the CPC. We put all this together back at that time for this agricultural preservation restriction. So I cannot be any happier that we're finally just tying the loose ends up on this project, and it will be completed.
Thank you.
Chairman, so at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the Form A application from KJ Arujo LTD, 1996 William Street, map 17, lots 115, 126, 127, and 128.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Woods. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that. Sorry, I was finding my mute button.
Motion's been made and seconded by Mr. Cavallo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. Gentlemen, by roll. Mr. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo,
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye. That motion carries. Mr. Meadows, thanks for your appearance this evening. And again, this has been a lot of hard work that's gone into this, and I love to see projects come to fruition.
All right, I'll coordinate with Carrie tomorrow about picking up the Mylar.
I actually,
We'd have to have, oh, go ahead,
forgive
Mrs.
me,
Easterday.
once I obtain all the signatures from the entire board, then I'll get in touch with you to let you know when it's ready.
Okay, that's fine.
I think that'll be best, okay?
Yes, that's great.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Good
You're
evening.
welcome.
Thank you. Good night now.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I'm going to move on to item number 4B, which is a preliminary discussion on Hunters Hill from Mr. Lee Castanetti from Long Built Homes. Mr. Castanetti, are you on this evening?
I don't see him.
I don't
Do we
see
have a
any.
representative? Neither do I. Was
It's
Mr.
Kevin.
Perry, you know if he was aware of this? Mr.
Yeah,
Perry, you know he was.
I think
Oh,
he's
yeah.
on there as L-cast. It looks like he's there.
Hold on
Okay.
one second,
I see
Jeff.
him on the screen. I don't see him visually, but it does look like he's on there.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? Mr. Rhines?
I'm
We're
sorry,
looking for the guy
we're
Long Built
looking for
Homes.
me, for Mr. Castanetti. That's what we're looking for.
Can you not hear me?
It looks like there's somebody
I can-
connecting now.
I can faintly hear him. I think he's LCAST.
Correct.
Yeah.
You not hear me?
Here you
Yeah,
go.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Just barely hear you, sir, but we can hear you.
All right. If you don't mind, I'm going to switch over to Zoom on my phone. I don't know what's wrong with this, but I think I'll get better
Hold on one
connect.
second, Joe. I'm still trying to get that
Okay.
information for you, okay?
Bear with me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Rhines, while we're waiting, what is that
Yes.
code to take the mute off when you're on the phone?
*6.
*6?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Carrie, what time are you in there tomorrow to sign that? I'm working from home. I can stop in. That-
About 9 o'clock. I'll be here about 9.
All right, thanks.
Sam, can you hear me now?
Mr. Castanetti, yes, I can hear you. I can also see you just a little upside down there. That's all.
You can see me
Ah,
outside.
there he is.
There we go. Much better, sir.
I don't see him.
Sorry about
You
that.
just have to unmute yourself, that's all.
Okay,
And that would be to press *6 on your telephone, to unmute yourself.
okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Castanetti, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. I believe that I am joined with the 5
homeowner representatives from the community. I don't know if you had an opportunity to read the email that I had sent to Kerry dated September 9th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that as well.
Okay. So you understand that, this is a follow-up to our initial meeting. Subsequent to that meeting, I met with the entire homeownership group. They formulated a 5-member representative board. They voted among themselves and unanimously requested. And I know, as I had indicated in my email to you, that it seemed as though your primary concern with the elimination of the golf course was the effect it would have on the representation that was made to the existing homeowners. So I'm before you here in conjunction with those homeowners who, and I obviously welcome them to weigh in to confirm what I'm telling you. But what's being sought after here is the ability to complete the development. They would like to have a completed 140 home development with the sewer treatment plant that was contemplated, and the amenities that they would like to have in place of a golf course. I've listed, and that was by their own independent vote. I had no input in that whatsoever. But as I've indicated, we're certainly willing to provide those amenities. So we're here jointly to ask you to reconsider your earlier poll and consideration of this request.
Could I just have the individuals, the 5 individuals, just by name individually, one at a time? If you could just say who you are and your address quickly, please.
I'll start. Can you hear me? Sandy Sudo. It says David on the screen, but that's my husband and I'm here. So Sandy Sudo, and I live at 3073 Hunters Hill Drive.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sudo.
My name is Peter Hayden, 3095 Mulligan Way. My wife, Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden.
My name is Joe Peterson, 3091 Hunters Hill Drive.
Thank you, Mrs. Peterson. Mr. Perry, we know who you are. Who was the 5th?
Yep.
Hello.
Perry, I'll just state it anyway, 3075 Clubhouse Drive.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And who would be the last, the 5th?
Hello, Ken Rodricks, 3101 Mulligan Way.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Now, just for the record, gentlemen, I know that we've had an opportunity to look at the packets, and I have read over what the residents, along with Mr. Castanetti, would like to present to us in regards to not building the golf course there. And I just want you to just look at the paperwork very quickly. I'll just read off what they're looking for. Is they want to eliminate the golf course to be constructed, and they're looking for the whole current homeowners would instead prefer to have a walking trail, a pickleball court, a shuffleball court, a bocce court, a well-groomed level lawn area for other outdoor games such as beanbag toss, 2 gazebos included as community amenities, in addition to the community center and an outdoor pool. Now, I had a member ask me, as a matter of fact, it was myself that looked at this, and Mr. Cassidy, very quick, is that an indoor-outdoor pool, in-ground?
That's an in-ground outdoor heated pool.
Correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm going to, at this time, I have no questions of Mr. Castanetti. I'm going to open this up to the members. Mr. Woods, if you'd like to go first, please, if you have any questions.
Thank you. I'm still kind of against the golf course thing, you know what I mean? It was presented to the town that there was going to be a golf course there. It's just like any other development that comes before us that says they're gonna give this and do that. And then when it comes down to it, kind of like Stonegate, another headache and another nightmare. So if we change our decision, the next developer that comes down the line, when things ain't going good for them, they're gonna want us to change too. So I'm kind of torn here because it's gonna come back to bite us in the long run. The next big developer comes in, he's gonna want to change something, and they're gonna reference this. Just like every other developer comes to us and said, well, you gave that guy a waiver, and you gave this guy a waiver, and they remember every date and every time that we've ever given a waiver. So what they're asking us to do here is to forget about the golf course, even though everybody's street is named after some type of a golf type Potter's Way or whatever your streets were, all named after golf course related lingo. It's just, to me, to change our decision, a decision that wasn't made by this board, by another board in good faith. And now they want us to change. And I'm going to reference again, Sylvia's Way. And if you look at this whole subdivision up there, they're going to have private streets, private trash removal. Am I correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. Now, just like this other subdivision came to us last year, they didn't think it was necessary for them to pay for their own trash pickup because they pay a lot of taxes already. And I know the homes up there are going to be valued a lot more higher than Sylvia's Way, and the taxpayers there were complaining about their trash fees and their roads. And we have to grant waivers to make them narrower roads than, a regular standard subdivision road. I just don't think it's right to come back to the planning board to change the layout of a subdivision that was once approved by the planning board. Granted, there's trying times that we're having, COVID related or whatever. I was around, I've been around for a while, and Stonegate happened like 13 years ago. And take a look at that development. Nothing but a giant headache. So, I don't believe that you even have a homeowners association. Has there been one developed?
Yes, there is.
There's one developed now. Is there a president of that homeowners association?
I don't believe there's an officer structure. I believe there's a trustee.
Right.
Yes, right now there should be just a trustee until the development is built out, and then there will be a homeowners association formed at that time.
Right.
The association is formed. It's in existence. It has not been transitioned over to the homeowners at this point in time.
Right.
The operation and control of the HOA has not been transitioned to the homeowners. The HOA
Correct.
is in fact in effect. It exists.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, and going further, I'd like to know exactly how big this swimming pool is going to be. The dimensions of it. No tennis courts. I didn't see anything about tennis courts. Just saw pickleball.
Tennis courts are passé. They've been essentially replaced by pickleball courts. Nobody wants tennis courts anymore.
I don't believe that.
They're
I don't believe
required.
that, sir.
Well,
if you go by
I'll
our
show
tennis
you-
course on 138, they get a lot of use.
I'll show you the research on
Yeah,
it.
but, I never see anybody in there either. Yeah.
Well, all you do, take a ride down Route 138 and look at our tennis courts. There's people playing on them every day.
There may be, but this is a 55 and older community. And in 55 and older communities, the preferred amenity is pickleball, not tennis courts. That's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Yes.
Mr. Woods, any more questions with Mr. Casignetti?
Well, this is all just a preliminary hearing tonight. Before we make a vote on this matter, I would like to see everything written down how big the pool's gonna be. I want to see a layout. And I want to see where the bocce courts are gonna be. I don't feel comfortable approving this tonight, just so you know. That's how I stand.
If I could interject, Mr. Woods, we're not asking you to approve it tonight. We're asking you to poll you for your opinion on whether or not you would consider it so we can move forward with a formal modification. But we don't want to waste our time or your time or anybody's time in moving forward with a formal modification if the board as a whole is diametrically opposed to it. So
Right. Well, I'm just one vote, sir. So
I understand that. But listen, I'll be very candid with you. If I know that for a special permit modification, we need 4 out of 5 votes. But quite frankly, I'd like to proceed knowing that we're doing something that's consistent with what you, the full board, have done. And I'd like you to recognize, obviously, what the people who have the most vested interest in this would prefer to see done. And they're the ones who are asking you to consider elimination of the golf course and replacement with other amenities. And, there's a reason there's a modification process to your point of making changes and people going back and using it. Every circumstance turns on its own peculiar and particular set of facts. And you use those facts to make your determination on whether or not it's appropriate in each and every instance. It's not a question of because you grant this to us, you have to grant some modification down the road to anybody and everybody else.
Correct, Mr. Cassidy.
You have to determine whether or not the facts before you in this particular instance warrant what we're requesting. And that's all we're asking.
Absolutely understandable. Every case is different, or every application is different that comes into us with all different set of circumstances. I understand exactly your points. Mr. Figueredo, I'm going to open the floor to you, sir, if you have any questions of Mr. Castagnetti.
Yes, I would. I am inclined to agree with this to one point, and that is if we get written statements from every single person that owns property on that development, that they are willing to go with this. The other thing is, when would the pool and all of these amenities that are going to be done or built, when will they be done? I will not sign anything that says that you guys are going to do it after the homes are built. We would have to come up with an agreement as to when you're going to start doing the building of these things, like the pool and these other that people are looking for.
Perfectly fine, perfectly understood, perfectly understandable. Our intention would be to commence construction of the amenities immediately in conjunction with the infrastructure to service whatever the next phase would be that we would undertake. We would be using those amenities as a marketing tool. So talking about them as a marketing tool versus actually having them to use as a marketing tool is 2 different things, and we prefer to pursue the latter. So we would be more than willing to impose a time frame on the construction of those amenities.
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that. So my thing is that by the time you guys have, say, 20 houses up, all of these things will be done.
Oh, no.
Is that a fair assumption?
Mr. Chairman.
Hello? Hello?
Mr. Castagnetti, if you'd like to respond to that, please.
Sure. I would say that we would be asking for that to be by the end of the first, from the time we obtain our first building permit for a home, that the amenities would be complete within a year of that time frame.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I didn't understand that. By the time the first home, the first building permit?
From the time we obtain the first building permit. From the time the first building permit for a home is issued, we would propose to have those amenities completed within a year.
Within a year.
Yes.
That's why a year? Because that means you're going to be building homes during that year, and I'm really not.
Correct. Which is pretty much going to parallel what you were asking for 20 homes. We're assuming that we'll be selling 20 to 25 homes per year.
So you're saying in the first year that will be done?
Correct. And you can word it that way in the modification. You can shut us down and stop issuing building permits if it's not.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Cavallo, any questions of Mr. Castagnetti?
I'd like to ask the homeowners that are present.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I lost track. I know Kenneth Roderick's top left. I think verbally, you guys, everybody agrees with this plan. I'm seeing the vote here, and I'm with Mr. Figueredo as well, that I would like to see it in writing just to make sure that you all understand what you're giving up. And at the beginning, I was with the rest of the board, and I was not willing to accept getting rid of the golf course. But after hearing this and seeing that the homeowners have organized, I'm leaning towards being good with this plan. And it makes sense for the times. And I like that there's a lot of amenities that you're talking about. I like that you've already considered the timeline and the value of doing this up front. So I'm happy with that. But I'm with Mr. Figueredo. I'd like to see that in writing. And I definitely would like to see the details on what this looks like. Because I know this is initial, and these are amenities just being listed here in the paragraph. But I'd like to see more detail on this when this finally gets presented to us.
Our proposal would be, as I said, we're here before you informally, simply to poll you to determine your position with respect to what we're requesting. But as far as with a formal modification request, we certainly intend to accompany that with a site plan of the amenities, the location, a rendering of the building, and those types of things.
Okay.
So we wouldn't ask you to vote blind.
No, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that you knew what collectively what we're expecting to see. So
without question, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. No, this
by the
makes sense
way,
to me.
I don't know if anybody's looked at the subdivision plan, but the location, what's shown on the plan presently is not, quite exactly what we would be building, but the location of the amenities, we're not proposing to change.
Okay.
So we would still be building it in that same location.
Right.
That's what I was going to ask that.
Originally proposed.
As far as keeping up all of the maintenance of these amenities are going to be paid by the homeowners association. Am I correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. This is Sandy. Am I allowed to say anything at this time?
You're a
Hold on, I was going to ask who is the representative of the homeowners association right now?
No, we're 5 equal people. But you hit on a few things just now that I really wanted to.
Hold on, ma'am. Hold on, please. Could you please identify yourself first for the record?
Sandy Sudo.
Thank you, Mrs. Sudo.
Okay.
You have the floor, ma'am. Thank you.
First of all, I'm agreeing wholeheartedly, and I think all of our members will, that the proposal from Lee and Longbills will come in written, because that, while we certainly believe he's going to do what he says he's going to do, we want the comfort level of seeing it all in writing also. So we agree with you there completely. But, I have in my hand It's not formal, but when we had the meeting, people stepped up. We had a piece of paper. They signed their names, their addresses, and they signed yes or no to the golf course. And if that's good enough for you guys, I'll be happy to give you the original on that. I'll even drop it off to your office so that you have everyone listed, okay? And also, when we talked about alternatives, you know, we don't want, nobody cared anymore about the golf course. And again, it's a 55 and over community, but there's a big difference between people who are 55 and people who are 70. So you can imagine that as we're getting older, we're brushing off a lot of things, and one would be the golf course. But we did want other things that would work for us, not only for the different ages, but also of the people, but also the different interests, and keeping us as a community and keeping us busy all year round. So not only would we have these outdoor functions going, but we would have within the no longer clubhouse, we want it to be a community center. There's things within there that people can use, you know, a library, a reading room, a little gym, things that can keep people busy and together all year round. And, you know, we're right now, and you keep using the word, I think you said dead end or something. Well, right now, this development is at a dead end. And you guys obviously know that, okay? It's at a dead end. The fellow who owns it now is not moving forward. We have things that need to be done here that we pay our monthly fee for that are not happening and not getting done. So we are so happy to have a builder come in who has experience all over Southeastern Mass, I don't know where else, who is willing to pick this up. And the only thing he doesn't want to do is the golf course, and we don't care. So I hope this helps. And if there's anything that we can send you, tell me. I can bring down this sheet that everyone has signed off on, and that's my piece. If you have questions, you can ask me, but anybody else in our group, speak up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Studo.
You're welcome.
Mr. Perry, if you'd like to say a few words, I'll give you the floor for a few minutes.
Sure, thank you. Kevin Perry, 3075 Clubhouse Drive. Yeah, as Sandy stated, we did have a sign sheet, and, you know, all residents except for one had abstained, but all other residents voted or agreed that the golf course should be taken off the table in lieu of these other you know, items that we were looking for. So we're all on board with that, and that can be presented. Again, you know, when this was originally developed many years ago, the golf course seemed like the right thing. In today's climate, it doesn't seem so good any longer in our environment. So you know, the amenities we're looking for, we're quite happy with, and Long Built throughout the years has proven themselves as a builder that will complete developments, and we certainly, as residents of this development, like to see that occur. So that's where we stand. And you know, again, as Sandy indicated, we do have the sheets to show everyone's signature and show that they did agree to this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Mrs. Pedersen, if you'd like to say a few words, you have the floor for a little bit, for a minute.
Well, I moved here 2 years ago. And when we first started looking here about 3 or 4 years ago, we have not seen a whole lot of houses being built since that time. And now I guess it's the sewer system that needs to be taken care of. And Lee has told us that that's the first thing on his list. So he's going to do a heck of a lot more than the gentleman that owns this community now. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Pedersen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hayden, if you'd like to say a few words, sir, you'll have the floor.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Peter Hayden, 3095 Mulligan Way. My wife and I moved here a little over 4 years ago. She had been scoping this development out for a couple of years, and we're very happy here. And one thing that really wasn't a deciding factor for us in moving here was a golf course. I play the game of golf. I don't consider myself a golfer, but if I do want to get out and play, there's plenty of courses in the area to play. You have courses within 15, 20 minutes here of this development that have closed. The game of golf is not what it was when this development was developed. You had Tiger Woods winning tournaments every other week. The game of golf was expanding. It's not that way anymore. The game of golf has declined. I think to have, if you could find a developer to put a golf course in here, I think it would be a financial disaster. My concern is the upkeep of a golf course would end up falling on the shoulders of the homeowners. Greens fees wouldn't cover it all. So it's not what attracted us here. We really would love to see this development expand the way we've laid it out and have the amenities that we've talked about. These are amenities that are for people our age. And I think it would be a great thing for the town of Dayton, the additional tax revenue that it would develop and the financial burden that it doesn't put on the town would be a plus.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden. Mr. Roberts, if you'd like to say a few words, sir, please identify yourself with your name and your address, please.
Hello, Ken Roderick, 3101 Mulligan Way. A year and a half ago, Kathy and I moved here, and to be honest with you, the golf course was an amenity that I had considered a really positive amenity moving into this community. But I'm not a golfer nor a scoffer. We were looking at it from the opposite point of view because golf courses have walking paths, golf cart trails, the whole lot. So walking around a golf course would be very aesthetically nice, but it was not a major priority for us. This is a wonderful community. I have wonderful, wonderful neighbors. We also talk to a lot of people personally, not just by voting, and again, from our consensus, there doesn't seem to be high need for having this golf course go forward. We voted on this, and we all in agreement, it's not a priority. We want this development moving into a more positive direction. And I think Long-Built Homes sees that vision that we have. We're all hoping and praying that we do move forward. Yes, I think the community center would be wonderful. The outdoor activities that we have planned as a committee will be most open-heartedly accepted by all the people that we know. So from our point of view, we have a committee intact. We know what the risks are going to be. We know what the positive things are going to be. But we've been in a stall position. We're in a limbo position. The present owner is not going anywhere. And now we have the opportunity with Long-Built Homes coming up and stepping up to the plate. And I think from our point of view, we are very, very fortunate. And we hope that this attitude, you have 5 different people representing 32 homes here, that we do represent them in a nice way and in a positive way. And we hope that Long-Built Homes will swallow with us. And also, we want to make sure that we are definitely all in agreement that we want to see this development move in a positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Gentlemen of the board, we've had the opportunity to listen to Mr. Cassignetti and the representatives of Hunters Hill. I'm just going to indirectly poll the members. This is not a vote of any sort, just a poll quickly of the members of how they feel about moving forward and if we are willing to modify condition number 5 in the special permits to eliminate the golf course. So, Mr. Woods.
Mr. Chairman, before we do make any changes to condition number 5, we would like to see things written out with a plan as to where everything's going, the layout, how big the swimming pool is going to be, the clubhouse or whatever they're calling it now, the size of that. I'd like to see the whole layout before I can start voting on changing the condition.
I'm sure Mr. Cassignetti will provide that to the board.
We will.
Mr. Figueredo.
My only concern was always the people that have homes in there that they did not lose out on this golf course. That was always a very big concern of mine. As far as everything else that goes into that development, if that is in favor of the people, I just want to make sure that it gets built on in time, not to have the same thing happen. This has been going on for, seems like 100 years, and nothing is being done. And I just want to make sure that this same thing is not going to happen. So if there's a way that you can stipulate on how long it's going to take for you to get this done in writing, I would really like that very much.
We can do that.
For anything at all, is always I just want you to think that I will be in favor of anything to cover the people that have invested in development. That's always going to be number one priority. And of course, the second priority, or the first, whichever one is what's best for the town. That's my biggest concern.
Thank you, Mr. Figueredo. Mr. Cavallo?
I don't really have any additional. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to put together, and I'm glad that this is going to work out for the residents. I have my own personal experience in a failed development. I was happy to see another developer show up and pick up where the last one failed. So I know how you feel. You want to get this done, and getting rid of this golf course idea and putting these other amenities that you're going to get a lot of use out of. I think that's a very good thing to do. I think it's very smart, and you're going to be very happy for years to come. And looking forward to seeing this getting done. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Casignetti.
One more thing.
Yes.
Chair.
Sure, Mr. Woods, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to see a time frame too, in his proposal as to what's going to go in and when. Kind of like when Stonegate across the street, they had to put in that playground after the 20th house was built. So, whatever kind of plan he wants to come up with, as long as it's in writing as to what's going to be built and when and where. That's all I get for tonight.
All right, thank you. Mr. Casignetti.
Can I just say something?
Sure, absolutely.
If you don't mind, just a quick comment. We've done quite a bit of business in Dayton, and I would greatly appreciate never being compared or associated to Stone or any other developer again, because nothing we've ever done in that town would warrant that. We built Birchwood Estates during the worst of times, and we were losing money every year, and you never put a snowplow truck on our road or anything else, and we completed that project and we turned it over entirely consistent with what the town's expectations were, and we have no intention of dealing with you as a town or with this community any other way than we always do business. And I would like recognition of Long-Built Homes for the reputation in town.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Woods again, if I may.
Yes.
I would like to give Mr. Long-Built Homes all the credit they deserve. I'm not sure if he remembers me or not, but I used to share an office with the building inspector when I was the veterans agent. And Glenna Smith was our secretary, and Long-Built Homes was one of the finest builders that came into the office.
Thank you.
I want to say a few words, Mr. Casignetti. Tim Ryan's the chairman. I have read your proposals that you had put together with the residents inside of Stonegate Landing. I do have concerns, just as the other members do, and that would be, of course, to see everything in writing. We can sit down if you like, and we can go over things with one representative of the Homeowners Association, yourself and I, to sit down and write a written proposal out to come to us. And And I think that would be the best course of action, honestly.
That would be
And
great.
I'm leaning toward Mr. Castagnetti, toward this development to be completed and built out. I think the residents deserve that. They're taxpayers just like I am in town, and they deserve a little bit of satisfaction for themselves as homeowners. So I want to thank you. So at this time, I want to individually thank Mrs. Pedersen. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Mr. Hayden for your appearance this evening, Mr. Perry, of course, Mr. Rodericks, and I'm sorry if I'm leaving, Mrs. Suto, I'm sorry. Thank you very much also for attending this meeting this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for your time and consideration. Greatly appreciate it.
Mr. Castagnetti, if you need anything, please feel free to reach out to our office manager.
I'm going to do just that and take you up on your offer. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome, sir. And I would like to wish everyone a great evening and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, we are going to move on to our next item of business, and that would be to review, discuss, and act on a site plan review for Jonathan Pickett at 210 William Street, map 2, lot 126. Is the engineer here with us this evening? Mr. Pickett, do you have an engineer right now with you or no?
Yeah. Engineer. Jonathan and I, brothers, were the property owners as of about 2 weeks ago.
Could you just give us a quick presentation of what you're proposing to do at 210 William Street, please?
The plan is to get a used car dealer's license to be able to buy and sell a limited number of vehicles from the auction.
Okay. Now, have you, this is just my question myself. Have you gone already to the Board of Selectmen to apply for a dealer's license?
Yes, this has been an ongoing process for about 6 months now. I talked to the Board of Selectmen, back in March, and they said there's one license available. And I've been in contact with Kerry for the last few months. It's taken a long time for us to get into the building, but we're in there now and hoping to move forward.
Yeah, correct. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we understand everybody's plight with what's happened. It's been, pretty taxing on us ourselves as members of the board. So, gentlemen, I want you to look at, you should have the paperwork in front of you. Of course, there's the assessor's map, and you're going to see his site plan review of what he wants to do. And this is again, they want to put a used car lot at this location with the existing building and have 10 parking spaces located at that location. So I'm going to open the floor to the members for any questions of the Pickett brothers.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, for one
Yeah.
moment. So
Yes, Mrs.
just for the process to let you know that before they can go for the dealer's license, they have to see us for a site plan review first. So that's why they're before us, before they apply for their dealer's license with the selectmen. The second issue is first what they're requesting, why they don't have an engineer before you is because their first request before you is they're requesting a minor site plan review.
Okay.
Okay, just for clarification.
Thank you.
Carrie.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to note the last time we granted a minor site plan review for a car dealership, it came back to bite us.
Correct, but that was in a different zoning location, if you recall. I know which one you're talking about, if you recall.
Mr. Figueredo, I'm going to open the floor for questions. Do you have any questions of the petitioners?
Yeah, there was one that unlimited cars. unlimited amount of cars. What does that mean? And I heard it in the very beginning.
I think you might have misheard, and I said limited amount of cars. There's
Okay, that was very good. All right. So
Yeah.
what is the minor site review? What is I don't do we have a map on this? A plan of it?
It's in your packet, Mr. Figueredo.
I have a sort of like a plot plan. Is that what it
Right,
is?
so there's a piece of paper that says 210 William Street at the top, and then it has a.
Yes, building, the existing building.
Yes.
And like that. Is there a septic system on this?
There's
There
a
is.
yeah, there's a septic system there today, but we will be putting in a new one. That's in process.
Okay.
Okay, I was gonna ask that question myself. Mr. Woods, I'm sorry, Mr. Figueredo, go ahead.
I honestly don't have many questions, any more questions on this, as long as I have, maybe as we discuss this, I'll have more, but for now, no.
Okay. Mr. Woods, do you have any further questions of the Pickett brothers?
I don't feel comfortable on voting on this tonight. I can tell you that much. I think we should take it under advisement and look into it a little further before we make a decision.
Okay.
May I ask what your
Mr.
concerns are,
Gabal, do you have
Mr.
any?
Woods?
Go ahead, Mr. Pickett.
May I ask what your concerns are, Mr. Woods?
My concern is the last time we granted a minor site plan review for another car dealership, it came back to bite us. And I would just like to do a little more homework on this. I'm not against your auto dealership. It's gonna be right next to the marijuana facility, right?
Yep.
Not that that has anything to do with it at all, but I just don't feel comfortable voting on this tonight. That's all. I'd like to do a little more homework on it.
I'd like to add that the property is it's a mixed use property. That's the states, and same thing as with the issue from two before. I'm not the same people that had bitten and made a issue. I'm just looking to sell maybe a couple cars a month out of there, and that's it.
I think what the issue that we had, if I may, the issue that we had before, that it was a residential lot and they were moving into a trailer. And then afterwards, it was determined that he couldn't do that. He had to have handicap access and so on and so on. That was the issue that we had. I think it's a totally different thing right now. And I'm just trying to, bring this up to Mr. Wood. That's basically.
Are you gonna tear down the house that's there?
No.
It's not technically a house. It's really more of offices.
An office building. It was formerly an engineering firm and law firm.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
It's a little overgrown right now. We're working hard.
What is your, Mr. Pickett, what is your time frame to have your septic done?
We have, from the bank, we're allowed 6 months from closing.
Okay, that's what I thought.
When was the closing?
About 3 weeks ago.
I know the property next door had a hard time perking over there.
We already have the perk test. We already have the a plan for the septic system. I have 2 quotes in hand. We are, now that we've closed and we've gotten in there, we may look at revising the system that's designed, but that's kind of to be determined. But yeah, we have 6 months, so we're working at it all.
Okay. Mr. Cavallo, do you have any questions of the Pickett?
Yeah, so I had a question about the existing structure on there, but real quick, when I'm looking at your sketch that you provided here with your submission, it says existing building, and there's 4 spots directly in front of it, and then there's 6 on either side. Is that where it says parking spaces? That's the orientation. Is that Williams, or is Williams on the left?
The parking spots are closest to William Street. So the parking spots would be directly in front of the building, in between there and William Street.
Okay, so those 10 spots shown in that picture are between the existing building and Williams.
That's
Yes.
correct.
And what were you intending on doing with that existing building?
Hopefully being an office for the auto dealership.
Okay. And what about the rest of the property? You've obviously got to clear some of the overgrowth on the Williams side. Is that going to be open frontage, or are you going to leave that? What's your intent?
I don't know, probably, obviously open it up a little bit more to get, some more frontage and, clean up the overbrush and, have it mostly just open is the plan.
Like
Okay,
the balance of having some natural vegetation and also some visibility in to the building, let the building breathe better. Right now, it is very much overgrown. So kind of would like to strike a balance there, I think it's fair to say. Where the parking lots are
Are you
drawn
going to
in,
pave it? Is that going to be
No,
a
it's
paved
all
lot
grass.
section,
all-
or is that just going to be
Just grass.
just grass? Okay, so I'm
gravel
looking
right now.
I'm looking on Google Earth as we're talking, so I'm
Yeah, you can hardly see the
looking at
building. You
what's
see the
there
roof.
now. It's obviously a very old photograph, but I see a building, I see a truck, and then I see a lot of trees. So
Yeah. So the existing 10
directly
parking
across
spots.
from the car auction.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's plenty of property there, so, okay. So if we were to vote on this today, what would be the intention of the vote, Mr. Chairman?
It would be a vote to straight out approve their minor site plan review.
I'm pretty sure that the building would have to have a handicap accessible bathroom and such like that. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah, that falls into the building department to,
Yeah, that wouldn't fall under any of us. Internals like that wouldn't fall under our jurisdiction.
Well, I'm just giving them a heads up, you know.
Yeah.
We have
I'm
some
sure they
work
know.
to do eventually. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I'm not familiar with the history of what Mr. Woods was speaking of, but I mean, looking what's presented here and what they intend on doing and the location, and I support them moving forward with this. That's my opinion at this point, Mr. Chairman.
I as well.
Thank you, Mr. Cavallo. Thank you, Mr. Figurito. Mr. Woods?
Yeah.
How do you feel about moving forward with this?
I told you earlier how I felt.
I mean, this property is, long been, overgrown and abandoned and, we're looking to clean it up and make it a, contributing, member of the town here.
Yeah, but I don't think 2 weeks is gonna set you way back, is it?
A couple of weeks, I mean, not necessarily, but as was mentioned, we have been working at this since March, and we have laid out a pretty significant amount of money at this point. We would like to be able to move forward, with our plans. We would appreciate a vote of approval tonight.
Gentlemen, I am going to entertain a motion to accept the minor site plan review for 210 William Street.
Can I just make one statement, please? We should probably, because we're required to let the various other departments know. And we did receive comments from the Board of Health, and they do have the comment about the septic system. But I think we should read into record what Todd Pilling had on there.
Absolutely,
If you
Mrs.
make a vote, if you do make a vote, I think you need to make it part of your conditions. Does that make sense?
Correct.
Sorry.
Yes, it does. So if you'd like to read that statement into record,
You want me to read it?
yes, if you would, please.
Okay, and I actually can bring it up on the screen if you would like.
That'd be fantastic. I love this technology.
Yeah. So is it up? If you can,
Yes, it is.
okay.
You need bionic eyes to read that.
Yes.
Well, you have a hard copy in front of you, Mr. Woods.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
It's in your packet. So, Todd
Page
Pilling,
28.
Board of Health, has provided his, and this was the only comment that was received because we're required to let the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Board of Health, and the Conservation Commission. And the only one who commented was Board of Health, and Board of Health submitted their comments, which was a new septic system is required and passing soil tests were conducted in the rear yard. So they do confirm that. The finished floor of the building is approximately 3 feet above street. Grading may be required. Tree clearing will be required. Concerns of stormwater from the parking area being directed towards the abutting properties. Plan indicating existing and proposed grading would be helpful. And if the disturbance of the parking lot and septic system exceeds 35,000 square feet, a stormwater permit from the Board of Health will be required, which I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe number 2 would fall under the scope of number 3, the stormwater. So that just to bring that up to date, it sounds like a lot of this is already being taken care of as far as the septic system, obviously. And grading and tree clearing, from what the gentlemen are saying, they're already proposing to do a lot of the cleanup and the grass. So, and then the clearing of the stormwater stuff. If it exceeds the 35,000 square feet, they would have to go. So that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Do the board members have any more questions of the applicants?
I just want to say that as long as they meet all of these things from the fire department and all of that, I have no issues with any of this.
Okay. Mr. Woods?
I'm in agreement with Mr. Figurito. Sorry.
Sorry.
Jumped ahead.
That's fine, Mr. Cavallo, not a problem. Mr. Woods?
What do you want?
Well, I think we already know how you feel on this. So at this time, gentlemen, I'm going to bring this up to a vote to approve the minor site plan review for 210 William Street.
Do we want to attach those conditions?
Yeah, with attached conditions, I'm sorry, with attached conditions. So again, that would be a motion to accept the minor site plan review for 210 William Street with the attached conditions.
I make that motion with the attached conditions.
Motion been made by Mr. Cavallo. Is there a second?
Yes, I second it.
Seconded by Mr. Figurito. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote by roll call, gentlemen. Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Abstain.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Let the record reflect the vote was 3-0 with 1 abstention. Gentlemen, if you would, you could stop by and see our office manager. If you need any further paperwork going forward, feel free to reach out to her at any time. She's always available. We appreciate you coming on with us this evening. Good luck with your new business, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Appreciated. See you soon, Kerry.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will prepare the proper paperwork and file it with the town clerk. Once that's all done, I'll be in touch with you so that you can come down and pick that up.
Okay.
That way you're not doing a lot of running around. I'm sure you've done enough.
All right, ready to do more.
And the selectmen will be notified so that you can move forward with the second step on that as well. Okay?
Thank you much.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Same to you.
All right. So gentlemen, we're going to move on to item E, and that would be to review, discuss, and act on a Form A application of Mr. George Nunes of 3210 Millers Lane, map 22, lot 21. Is this Mr. Delano?
Give him 1 second. He's trying to unmute himself.
Star 6, Mr. Delano, on your phone.
How did we do here?
Ah, there you go.
All right.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
This technology is a little overwhelming, but I'm Roy Delano from Lighthouse Land Surveying, 27 Jefferson Street in Taunton. And I'm here tonight presenting a Form A plan for George Nunes of 3220 Miller Lane. Mr. Nunes had a parcel of land on Miller's Lane, and he is looking to purchase a little bit more. He has a farm there with some horses. He's looking to purchase a little bit more from the abutter to the rear. It would be parcel B shown on the plan, if you can see the plan. And parcel B is about 31,000 square feet. And the frontages of the land are not affected. The remaining land of Clark has 15 acres. And so he's looking to get about a 75-foot in depth additional land behind what he already owns. So I don't know if you have the plan in front of you, but if you have any questions regarding the plan, I can certainly try to answer those for you.
Yeah, I believe we all have the plans in front of us. Mr. Delano, let's see, parcel A. I'm looking at, so he wants to add on to parcel A, which would be including parcel B. Existing barn. I think it was pretty clear cut to me. Gentlemen, I'm going to open the floor up. Mr. Figueredo, do you have any questions of Mr. Delano?
Not right now, no. I think this is a straightforward thing. It's not a big.
Yep, I agree. Mr. Woods, any questions of Mr. Delano?
None. Oh, don't
Mr.
look
Cavallo,
so
any
surprised.
questions? I'm sorry, Mr. Woods, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
So just so I understand it, it's parcel B is being added onto parcel A. Is that what's happening?
Yes, parcel A and the original lot. The original lot has the house and the existing barn. And a few years back, they added parcel A to it from the rear land. And now they're adding an additional parcel, parcel B. So it's parcel B, parcel A, and the original parcel that was created back in 1981.
Do they have an intended use for that additional parcel, or are they just tacking on the back for some more stuff?
They have a farm there with some horses, so they're looking to get a little additional area to use for their farm purposes.
And is that that parcel B is privately owned, that's being purchased from somebody else, or?
Yes, from the abutter, Virginia Clark. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Cavallo. Mr. Woods, any further questions of Mr. Delano?
No, sir.
Gentlemen, at this time, I've looked this plan over extensively today, and as Mr. Figueredo had mentioned earlier, it's pretty clear cut that the homeowner is looking to purchase some property from the direct abutter who are the Clarks, and they want to just build out parcel A to make it larger so they could have more room for their horses and that type of thing. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the Form A of Mr. George Nunes of 3210 Miller's Lane, map 22, lot 21.
I'll make that motion.
Motion be made by Mr. Figueredo. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. Any further discussion on the Form A application? Hearing none, let's vote. Gentlemen, by roll. Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. It carries 4-0. Mr. Delano, thank you very much for always coming in front of the planning board. I always appreciate looking at your plans because they're pretty much straightforward. So I'll say that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And have a great evening, sir.
You too.
Mr.
Thank you.
Delano,
Stay
when
safe.
that gets executed, I'll be in touch with you to pick it up so it can be recorded.
Great. All right. Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. East today.
Sure.
Gentlemen, we're going to move on to item letter F on the number 4, which is the review, discuss, and act on the Old Williams Estates definitive subdivision extension request. Mr. Barrowby, you're with us this evening, sir. How are you?
Good, you?
I'm very well. Could you just enlighten the members on what you'd like?
Yes, I submitted a letter dated September 3rd. The project as it sits has been extended through October 17th of this year. My brother owns the land with his wife. There's been a couple of people interested in working with them on the project. And we've also met with the water department because the water department has shown an interest in running a water line from the end of their subdivision through the property into the property, which is at the detention basin of John Street, which is a subdivision we did back in the early 2000s to loop that water line. So we're still in discussion with them. And for that reason, we'd like to extend the approval of this project if possible. It still meets all of the current zoning and planning board regulations. The water department looked at it too. It meets all of their regulations. So we're asking for some additional time, and we'd like to extend it for 1 year through October 17th of 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Barrowby. Mr. Figueredo, any questions of Mr. Barrowby?
Yeah, I know this has been, what, 3, 4 extensions already. Are we, you think that we're gonna be able to go through this one?
I think so. He's got definitely people that are interested in working with him on it, so I think it will. He had a guy that strung him along for many years, and that was the reason it didn't happen back then. But the economy's good. He definitely has interest in it. Everything is still up to speed with even the Board of Health regulations, things like that. So I think this is going to be it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Wood?
Are you sure one
sorry,
year's
Mr.
gonna do it, or
Bill.
you want two?
We went year to year. If the board wants to go 2, we'll still try and get it done within the next few months anyway. But if you want to go 2, then I'm sure he'd be okay with the 2.
I like two.
Me too.
That's all I got.
Mr. Cavallo, any questions of Mr. Barrowby?
No, I don't.
So let me just get this straight. So we're not asking for an extension over 2 years. We're asking for a 1-year extension, not a year and a half, or anything in the middle.
I'm all for 1 year. This has been lingering long enough.
Okay. So, gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the extension requests for Old Williams Estates definitive subdivision for 1 year to October 17th of 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on the topic? Hearing none, let's vote. Gentlemen, by roll. Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Mr. Barrowby, thank you as always, sir.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
Good night.
Stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, we're going to move on to item 4G, which is to Review, discuss, and act on Philip and Alexia Renzi, removal of 0 Horton Street, map 10, lot 15A from chapter 61A land. Mr. Renzi, if you're with us this evening, you have the floor, sir.
Hello. Yes, we are just looking to remove the land. We just purchased this land, and we're looking to remove it from chapter 61.
So just for clarification purposes, prior to removal of chapter land, the planning board's requirement before the Board of Selectmen can move forward with removing that from that. They need the recommendation from the planning board and some other departments, but our job today is to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to remove that, whether a yes or a no. To remove.
That's the only thing we're voting on, right?
I'm sorry?
That's the only thing we're voting on here.
Yes, it's just a vote of your recommendation, whether you.
Right.
recommend.
They do this for all chapter land.
Correct.
Correct.
I'm
Correct.
good with it.
Thank you for that clarification, Mrs. Easterday. Gentlemen, at this time, I'm going to ask if any of the members have any questions of the applicants.
Yeah, this is Jeff. I read the letter, but what is the reason for removing the 61A designation?
Okay, so a couple of things. So my in-laws own the land on Smith Street that abuts this one. Sorry. And we are actually going to give a portion of the land to them, and they're going to give us a portion of their land. They have 4 daughters, and obviously my wife is one of them. And in case anyone in the future wants to build a house, they'll have some frontage that can be used to access their 20 acres. Nobody at this time is looking to build additionally, aside from my wife and I. So yeah, we want to give them a portion. They don't have frontage. That's the problem. So for them, us giving them a piece on Horton.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
Sorry, got little ones at home. So we would be giving them a portion, and then from talking with the surveyor, depending on how the testing comes back, we're going to have some land in the middle that we can potentially sell or just keep, I guess. But either way, the problem is for us that we cannot give any land to our in-laws, which is the first goal for now, until we or we can't get the loan through the bank, is what I mean to say, until we subdivide the land. Because if we get a loan, our construction loan through the bank, they're going to lien the whole property, and then we won't be able to subdivide until we pay it off, unless they were willing to give us a partial release. But it doesn't. The bank's position was that partial release is very difficult and sort of a cumbersome process, and they highly recommend we need to subdivide before we would have built. So we're actually working with Lighthouse Land Surveying. They're going to be doing the wetlands and the perk testing, or the engineer that works with them is going to do the perk testing for us, and the surveying for any subdividing that we do. But we don't have any plans finalized with them yet. We do want to see how the testing comes back, and then we're going to figure out what to do with sort of all the land in between whatever my in-laws take and whatever my wife and I keep for building our house.
All right, so I'm looking at thank you for that. So I'm looking at the sketch right now, and it says plot 1180, and then there's a cut piece there. That subdivision doesn't currently exist, right? Or it does, and they're I guess landlocked in 1180. Is that
Well, I know. So 1180 Smith Street, they have a really long driveway. You can't see it. I don't know. Can you see the driveway in the sketch I gave you? Is that?
I'm assuming that's what's on Smith Street, right?
Yes. Yeah. So they only have 75 feet of frontage. We originally were going to build on their land, and we were going to request a variance to create a tree lot because we didn't have enough frontage. But that didn't. There were too many obstacles. Their driveway crosses a wetland stream or something like that too. So the opportunity came up to buy the land on Horton Street, and it just seemed like a really perfect fit.
Any of the members have any more questions of Mr. Renzi? I'm going to take this to a vote, and this is as a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that the planning board remove 0 Horton Street, map 10, lot 15A from chapter 61A lands. By roll, Mr. Figurito,
Aye.
Mr. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo,
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye. That carries 4-0. Mr. Renzi, thank you very much. If you need anything, please reach out to our office manager, Mrs. Easterday, and she'll have any necessary paperwork or documents that you may need for your records yourself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Stay safe, sir.
You too. Oh, thank you.
Good night now.
Good night.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, who made the motion and who seconded that?
I made
Motion made by Mr. Figurito, and it was seconded by Mr. Woods.
Thank you.
Yeah, I missed that
All
too.
right.
I'm too fast.
Okay, yeah.
I was about to say, I don't think that happened, but I guess it did. Okay.
Gentlemen, I'm going to entertain, everyone should have received in your packet the copy of the meeting minutes from the last month's meeting. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 19th of 2020.
So moved.
Motion is made. Do I hear a second? Motion has been made by Mr. Woods and seconded by Mr. Figurito. Any further discussion on accepting the meeting minutes of August 19th, 2020? Hearing none, let's vote. By roll, Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
What are you doing?
Cleaning his camera.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye. That's a 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen. With that being said, I'm going to move on to item number 6, and that is correspondence.
Getting dark out.
I have a letter. I have a few correspondence to read this evening. This letter is from Gay and Gay, 73 Washington Street, P.O. Box 988, Taunton, Massachusetts. And this is also to the attention of Mary Ehrenstein, Town Administrator. Subject, application of new bylaws, Article 30, annual town meeting of June 15th of 2020. And this is, our file number is 791.183-A. And this is Dear Town Administrator. I have reviewed the response from the Attorney General's office approving the above article and providing some guidance as to its application. The Attorney General's office points out the exemptions that are provided by state statutes concerning a commercial kennel and in some instances a residential kennel. They also distinguish kennels established solely for the purpose of grooming, which would be a commercial business and may not be entitled to an exemption under Chapter 40A, Section 3. Therefore, the applicants for a special permit may not be necessary in some of these cases, depending upon the exact use of the kennel. Our office is available for discussion with the zoning board, the planning board, and the board of selectmen as may be necessary to implement the provisions of this new bylaw in a manner consistent with the laws of the Commonwealth. Please let me know if you'd like us to contact any board specifically concerning this issue. Respectfully, Gay and Gay PC, David T. Gay, Esquire, Town Council for the Town of Dayton. Now, Mrs. Easterday, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that what Mr. Gay is saying is that the bylaw that was presented at town meeting was passed by the Attorney General, and they see no need to make any changes to the bylaw.
Well, under the Attorney's General comments are pretty lengthy, little hard to decipher, but it looks like, the way I understand it, the Attorney General approved our bylaw and it's all set. However, they just wanted to make note that under our bylaw, it looks like in some circumstances, a special permit may not be necessary. Sounds like to me it would be a case-by-case basis.
Okay, that's what I thought when I read.
If you recall, it's under the jurisdiction of the Zoning Board of Appeals. So my thought is, this might be something that should be up for discussion for the zoning board of appeals and maybe the ACO, so that they can come up with a determination or a guidance on how they would proceed for something in that instance, or maybe something that they would do on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Do we need to have a meeting with the ACO and the ZBA in regards to this? Have a representative meet with them?
It might be at this time, maybe something we should discuss at department head.
Okay.
And then maybe at that time, we can determine whether that would be something we would do on a case-by-case basis, or something that they can determine a procedural type thing that they could do. Or if you would like, I can present this to John Gray. He can take a look at it. He's pretty good at, being very thorough.
Okay.
And so that way he can be fully informed. And then when we go to department head, we can kind of brainstorm a little bit. That's
okay. So I would say that, gentlemen, I'm going to entertain a motion to take this correspondence under advisement until we garner some more information from the Zoning Board of Appeals and our animal control officer, and also being brought up at the next department head meeting. So I'm just going to entertain a motion just to take this under advisement.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
The motion's been made by Mr. Figueroa, seconded by Mr. Woods. Any further discussion on taking that correspondence under advisement? Hearing none, let's vote by roll. Gentlemen, Mr. Figueroa.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Ryan's aye. That's 4-0. So this correspondence will be taken under advisement. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, we are going to paperwork all over the place. We're going to move on to our next correspondence, and this is, excuse me, this is dated June 9th of 2020. This is GZA file number 18.0172110. And this is addressed to the Dayton Planning Board, Town of Dayton, 979 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Massachusetts. And this is in reference to Field Inspection Report number 14, Naughty Pines Estates Subdivision off Somerset Avenue. And this was dated, the letter was dated May 29th of 2020. Dear board members, the purpose of this inspection, as requested by Jeff Tallman of Site Tech, was to review the as-built plans dated September 27, 2019, submitted for the subject subdivision. Based on GZA's review of the as-built and site inspections, it appears that most of the subdivision improvements have been completed. The following list identifies the remaining work to be completed and minor corrective work to be completed. 1, installation of concrete bounds. 2, installation of iron rods. 3, final cleanout of drainage structures. 4, removing excess riprap stone and vegetation from detention basin outlet structures and flared end outlets. 5, installation of catch basin hoods. 6, standing water was observed in detention basin number 2. Should you have any questions concerning the information presented in this field inspection report, please do not hesitate to contact me at peter.williams@gza.com or 781-439-8573. And this is sincerely GZA Geo Environmental Incorporated, Peter Williams, PE Senior Project Manager. And I was also CC'd to Mr. Jeffrey Tallman, and he can be reached at jtech/engineering.com. Again, that was jtallman@sitetech-engineering.com. And Mr. John Garanito at john@hawthorne-development.com. So this letter is just going to be correspondence to be taken into the record. And I'm sure, excuse me, Mr. Williams will be out doing inspections when he receives the call from Mr. Garanito. Do we have any questions at all in regards to this report or correspondence?
No, this is just a letter we already got. You're just reading it into record. That's what's going on.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, Mrs. Easterday, do we have any public inputs?
None. Excuse me, none at this time.
And we had no phone calls via either.
Nope, no phone calls, no emails.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I want to, just before we adjourn, I want to make the members just reminded again that we will be going back to our regular schedule beginning next month in October. And the next scheduled meeting is October 7th at 2020. It will be via this meeting unless we hear anything otherwise. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Motion has been made by Mr. Figueredo. There's seconded by Mr. Cavallo. No, any further discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, let's vote. By roll, Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Cavallo.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines, aye. And before we do adjourn, for the record, I would just like to state that Mr. Bona was not available this evening. He was excused. He is on vacation. And he will be forwarded all of the votes and information that was taken this evening. So with that being said, we are officially adjourned. Gentlemen, thank you very much as always. Mrs. Easterday, thank you. Cable, Andrew, thank you very much as always. Have a great evening. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.